Welcome to October. The road to the playoffs kicks into high gear in Week 8. With 5 weeks left in the regular season, it's time to separate the contenders from the pretenders. America Sumter and Columbus clash at Kinnett Stadium as the Panthers look to keep their spot in the playoffs, while the Blue Devils look to make a move towards the top. Smith Station continues to be the surprise of the Valley in 2018. They look to continue their improbable run to the playoffs at home against Jeff Davis. Brookstone made a statement last week in the battle for the Brucelli Jug. They face the undefeated Marion County Eagles in Buena Vista. It's Friday night in Marion County as the Cougars and Eagles face off in the Pepsi PrepZone Game of the Week. The PrepZone preview starts right now.
What's up and what's good, everybody? I'm Jack Patterson, welcoming you to Week 8 of the PrepZone preview. Wow. Here's Justin Holbrook, here's Rex Castillo. You're probably wondering why, A, I have a hat in my hand,
What is that?
And B, why my voice is so bad. With that being said, went to the Falcons game with this joker right here.
Who dey?
He's a diehard Bengals fan. We made a bet. The winner of the team's game, the loser had to put on the winner's hat.
That's right.
I am a man of my word. I honor my bets. So.
Oh, man. With
Jack Patterson.
With the first pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select Jack Patterson.
Oh, man, this is bad. And I lost my voice in the process of the game. So.
And I didn't lose anything.
Man, oh, man.
Wow, he's just full of good ones today.
Can we talk high school, please?
Let's do that.
Can we please talk high school? So, we had a big week last week in Week 7. Let's run it back. And Justin, you were at the battle for the Brucelli Jug between Brookstone and Pacelli.
Yep.
Please talk about it so that people don't have to hear my terrible voice.
Well, at least they get the visual, right?
Yeah.
So this game was kind of over when it started. I mean, we basically just saw two teams that are on very different levels when it comes to private school football. You had the team over in Brookstone, 3 drives, 3 touchdowns, all in the first quarter, 21-0 at the end of the first. So, I mean, that was pretty much done deal. Jeremiah Burgess averages 100 yards a game. I could tell why. The guy was going off in the first quarter. He had a touchdown to start the game, had another big run to put them at the 5-yard line, leading to that 3rd touchdown. So they're a very talented bunch. I actually stopped by Marion County today, and I was talking with Coach Kirksey there, and he said nobody runs the wing tee better than Brookstone. He was saying, I've never seen anybody do it quite like Coach Harrison does it. So that's something that they said they need to focus on this week, and it's something they did really well against the Vikings last week.
Yeah, man, they look phenomenal. Bad voice. They looked phenomenal last week. I didn't expect that game to be much of as big of a blowout as it turned out being.
Yeah.
And it only makes me feel like Brookstone might just be a solid contender for Marion County, who they play this week. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Sure.
But I feel better about Brookstone than I did going into the game.
I mean, again, with Brookstone, they lost their starting quarterback, and to lean on Jeremiah as much as they do now,
right.
you said it. There's exactly a reason why they give it to him so much. And the Brucelli Jug stays at Brookstone for 4 straight years now.
Exactly.
Now, still with Pacelli, they came in as a much more improved team. I mean, this
Absolutely.
is a team we're all kind of surprised, but we shouldn't be surprised anymore when they do win games. So I think Justin hit it right on the head that these are just 2 teams that are just at 2 different places right now.
Yeah.
That Pacelli wants to become on Brookstone's level right now, and just Brookstone had too much of a head start.
And we have to keep in mind that even though Pacelli lost the game, they are still in the playoff race in single A public.
Sure.
So they have more than enough time to get back into the top 24, because I believe they're 26 now. Mm-hmm. So they still have a lot of time to get up into that top 24 and make a run to the playoffs. So that is huge. For, just learn from it for Pacelli and move on to the rest of your region schedule. They have a tough test in Manchester coming up this week, so we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah.
All right, on to our next game, Park Crossing at Central. Rex, you were at this game, and it looked like Central just keeps doing what Central does, which is rolling over teams.
It really does, and it's amazing to me. Like, sometimes Central will get in kind of a rut. They'll get in their own way. Sometimes there were some questionable calls going on at Central, but Peter Parrish, we know that he's more of a runner. He's more mobile, but he showed off his arm a little bit more there. Showed a lot more composure. And again, once the defense gets a pick or they turn the game somehow, the offense doesn't waste that opportunity. So just to see how incredible they capitalize on opportunities like that. E.J. Williams had a fantastic game, saw a pair of touchdowns, and congratulations on your new offers to Florida State and Alabama. The kid, I mean, it's just a testament to how much talent they have down there in Central. And again, I have to be honest, guys, I don't know who can stop this team right now.
I don't know either. I mean, I think the only team that might give them a fight is Auburn. And,
Man, how much fun is that one shipping out to be, right?
oh, man. October 26th, can't wait for it.
Absolutely.
But
A lot of fun.
Central just keeps on doing what they do, man, and they are clinical in their procedure of how they go about just dismantling teams.
And this was another team coming Park Crossing. They had a great. They were 3-2 heading into this game. I mean, they had they looked like a legitimate contender on paper. And then Central is Central. It's incredible to see just the momentum they have, and everyone is so focused and disciplined to their role. That's what impresses me the most. That okay, you get to this rhythm and you maybe feel yourself a little too much around week 5, week 6. It's not that case with them.
No.
Either someone else steps up or Peter and Tucker are there to help bring them back in. But yeah, it's another formidable test for them, and they pass it with flying colors.
Exactly. Man, over to our final running back is the game I was at, Bremen and Callaway, a battle of 2 top 10 teams in Region 5 2A. And I tell you what, man, I was a believer of it before.
Sure.
I mean, Callaway was my pick to go win a title this year. But after the performance they put on, I truly don't know if anybody in 2A can stop them. I do not know. I mean, Jacob Freeman is that kind of guy. He is a game changer. You don't know what he's got a great arm. He is great with his legs. Then you have weapons like Tank Bigsby in the backfield. And that man has run for 300 yards, I think, 3 times this year.
I mean, the highlight was basically Tank, and he almost dominated our top plays easily. And that's incredible.
Like that is insane. We've just gotten past the halfway point of the season, and the man's already run for 300 yards, I believe, 3 times.
I think that's what opens it up for Jacob too, because he was coming over, now playing quarterback for the first time this year. But it's easier when you're a quarterback because then you have a guy that's running the ball like that, and then you can be a little more free with how you throw the ball because every team is going to focus on Tank, and Jacob can run too. So once you do that and you establish your run game, then things open up in the passing game. So that's what's happening for Jacob.
Exactly, and then you have Cowboys finding more weapons. Like the guy that came out, that stood out this week is Marcus Mormon, who is a wide receiver and a cornerback. He had 2 big plays in that game. He scored the first touchdown in the game on a short pass from Jacob Freeman, but then late in the game, he had a huge defensive pass breakup late in the 4th quarter that got Callaway the ball back, and they would go on to score a touchdown and put Bremen away. So Bremen is a very good team, but Callaway was very impressive, and don't be shocked when this is probably already aired by the time that the polls come out, but don't be shocked when you see them way higher than they were this week.
I mean, I think we're all kind of expecting for some of these teams to have a drop off because, it's a long season. Maybe something gets in the way, injuries get in the way. We're seeing a lot of these teams just pick up even more momentum and carry it on from week to week to week, and that's what's impressed me the most with Callaway, with Auburn, with Central, all these teams, and even Brookstone now. I mean, this test, Marion County, who we're about to get to even more now, they played 1 home game, and they're 6-0. That's incredible.
Exactly. Time to go eye on the future here, and we're going to go to Region 1-4A, the wild and wacky world that it always is.
Right.
And America Sumter is playing Columbus over at Connect Stadium. Remember, Memorial Stadium is down due to the Tuskegee Morehouse this week, and this game is huge. Currently, the Panthers hold the number 3 spot in Region 1-4A. They still have Carver and Cairo left on their schedule the last 3 weeks of the season, so they can still control their own destiny to the Region 1-4A title. They're looking to defend that title after winning it last year. Meanwhile, Columbus is a half game back of Shaw right now for the last playoff spot, and they still have Shaw coming up on the schedule. So big game for both teams as they look to continue their pursuit going to the playoffs. And I think this will be a huge game for Columbus to bounce back.
I mean, Columbus has always been that team that's been in the fight every single time, even if they have punched up with, against the troops of the world or something like that. But Columbus, if they execute and they're still healthy, that's, I think, the biggest thing. We saw them try to go punch for punch with Carver, but Carver just has too much talent. And I still think it's just insane with this division. Even if you win out, there's still so much that is outside of your control.
Exactly.
Everyone is so close. But this should be a lot of fun to see. America Sumter has shown us a lot, even though they dropped that one to Hardaway in dramatic fashion. But yes. Columbus, this is a game I really can't pick in either one. It should be a really fun fight between the two.
I think Columbus has the advantage when it comes to the run game, especially with Trey Williams back there. He's a very talented back. We don't really talk about him probably enough as we should, just because of how much that he helps that team and how much they go up against each and every week. Those teams are going to focus on him as a running back. and maybe they don't have to focus on anything else. So I think he's a very, very talented back, and we might see him in the next level too. But the thing that Columbus has going for them and will have going for them is you have a 10-year head coach back there. So he's very experienced, not only when it comes to getting his team to the playoffs, but in these situations when there's one playoff spot left and it's usually that last spot, he can get them in that spot. So I like them for that reason.
And he's done it before. He did it a couple years ago when Columbus made their return to the playoffs. It came via a late season charge. And this year, the schedule looks favorable for Columbus. They've already played the two toughest teams in the region in Carver and Cairo. They played them the last 2 weeks. Didn't go their way, but those are done and out of the way.
It gets you ready for a team like Shaw and America Sumter, and you're even more prepared
who you
for that.
play the next 2 weeks. They play America Sumter this week. They play Shaw next Thursday.
Right.
So those will probably be the two biggest games on the schedule for Columbus in terms of their playoff positioning. But don't forget, they still have Hardaway and Northside still on the list.
And the flip side of with America Sumter, they still have to play
Carver and Cairo.
So their gauntlet is coming up at probably the most critical part of the season.
Exactly, because they play Cairo the third to last week, and then they play Carver. They host Carver the final game of the regular season.
Carver doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon either.
Does not look like it, but like I said, that's why they play the games. That's why they play the game. Over to Alabama, we had the Region 2 7A, where Smith Station Panthers are still making their push to a playoff after going 0-10. You're laughing at my boys, aren't you?
No, I'm laughing at the fact that, again, Smith Station, and what a turnaround this is.
Exactly.
It's a team that we kind of, even last year, you figured, let's see how close they can get to winning. Here, it's like, it's a pleasant surprise to say, again, Justin's mentioned it a couple times, legit playoff team in Smith Station. So this is a team, I mean, with Jeff Davis at 1-4, this is it could potentially be a trap game for Smith Station, but I think it's a team that has proven that even in a close game, they can capitalize, they can execute, and they want to keep that momentum going for the rest of the year.
I feel like this is a must-win for both teams. We're talking Smith Station as 1-2 in the region, sitting just outside the playoff picture as of right now, but they control their own destiny. If they win this game, odds are, barring something insanely crazy happening, all they would have to do is win one of their final two region games at Auburn, hosting Prattville. If they were to win one of those two games, they would be in the playoffs.
This is a good measuring stick too, because Auburn blew out Jeff Davis. I think it was 59-2.
51-23.
51-20. Okay, so I was a little off there. But this is a good measuring stick because that's a Auburn team that beat this team by 30 plus. So if Smith Station can do something similar to that, then we're shaping up for a very interesting game against Auburn. Now, this is very close, low scoring. Last week, they won against Stanhope 14-9. That was a close game. I know it was a non-region, but if they can show that they're separating themselves from a team like Jeff Davis, then they're that much closer to a team like Auburn. So when we get to Auburn versus Smith Station or Prattville versus Smith Station, then we know we're looking at a borderline playoff team. So it just really depends on how they win this game and if they win by how much.
Exactly.
And I think they can do it because with Corey Mitten at quarterback, this offense seems to be rolling. I know they only had 14 last week, but he started the offense on a big 50-yard run to the 2-yard line, and that's what got them going. And the defense is very, very good. And, I mean, it's still a first-year head coach, and for these seniors, it's their third head coach in 4 years. It's incredible.
Exactly. And like I said, coming from a team that was winless, that scored, I think, 35 points total last season, to be on the precipice of potentially making a playoff run. That is huge.
Congratulations, Smith Station, guys. The hard work's paid off, so hopefully.
And we'll be at that game, too.
Absolutely.
Work still to be done, though. Work still to be done.
Sure.
And they'll tell you that. Over to our Pepsi Prep Zone Game of the Week. It is, as of being on this show for 5 years now, we have a saying, a big-time Region 4-1A matchup between the Brookstone Cougars and the Marion County Eagles. This game is, I can't understate how big this game is for both teams. If Marion County wins, they all but seal up the Western Division, and they will advance to the region title game on November 2nd, which they would host. If Brookstone wins, not only does it keep them alive for the region title, it brings Manchester back into the fold after Marion County beat them 2 weeks ago. So this game is huge for not even the two teams are playing, but Manchester. They're going to be the biggest Brookstone fans because Manchester hosts Brookstone next week. So they're going to be, Brookstone hosts Manchester next week. So they're going to be huge Brookstone fans to pull off the win in Buena Vista, which is not easy to do. Marion County has been road warriors all season. They are now back home for the second game this season. And Brookstone look great, but I don't know if they can stop Marion County.
It's funny how roles seem to be reversed, because last week we were talking about a Brookstone team that has beaten Pacelli both historically and recently 3 years in a row, and 30 times, now 31 out of 48. And now we've got kind of the opposite. You're going to Marion County, which has now beaten this Brookstone team 5 years in a row. Pretty bad each time. I think it was 17 or more the last 5 times.
17 or more.
So it has not been a close game. So it'd be interesting to see if it is a close game. And I think part of that too is Coach Harrison being back there in the fold. In his second stint, he was obviously there from like 03 to 11, and then this is his second year back in that second stint. So I like to see how that team compares to when he was there for the first time in the second stint, and then compared to his second year, how he does against this Marion County team. But it's their second home game, so you know they're going to be up for it, because
absolutely,
I know their first home game they beat Manchester, and they beat them pretty
convincingly.
Yeah, convincingly. Yeah,
it's week 8, and
right.
It's their second home game.
Right. So the thing that I think they have going for them is this wing T offense is hard to predict, and it's hard to teach going into just 1 week. You have 1 week to tell your guys this is how we should defend this team, and even then, you still have Jeremiah Burgess to account for.
Right.
So it'll be an interesting game, and I think it's going to be closer than the last 5 years.
I tend to agree with you, man. Marion County has looked phenomenal this year.
Yes, they have.
But Brookstone is one of those teams that can just sneak up on you. I think you described Auburn this way. Let Marion County keep on grabbing the headlines, grabbing the spotlight, getting, all the fame and stuff from us. But we're just going to keep on winning, and then we'll meet you when the time comes.
Right.
Well, the time is now for Brookstone. And if they're going to make a statement, it's got to be this game.
Yeah, you're right.
It's got to be this game. They sit 17th in the power rankings right now. That will shoot way up if they win, because not only would they shoot up, but they will control their own destiny to a region title. They will control their own destiny to clinching that spot. So it's just so much on the line for really a mid-season game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a playoff atmosphere.
Yeah, it will be.
It's going to be.
It's going to be a playoff atmosphere in University, no doubt.
From what we've heard, it's one of the best atmospheres we have.
It is one of the best atmospheres. The people in University. I covered the Marion County Manchester game a couple of weeks ago, and they showed their brother some love. Okay, they showed their brother a lot of love.
I can tell you how much it means in that community. I was driving up there to practice on Monday, and there's a sign that says, "This town thrives on blessed hearts, sweet tea, and Marion County victories."
Exactly.
So
I love it.
If you don't know anything about Marion County, I can tell you those are the 3 things that you should know, and the last one is probably the thing that means most to those people.
And you get into Buena Vista when you start seeing all the Marion County signs in the front yards of businesses, in the front yards of homes, and you see the Marion County flags all across town. That's how you know that school, that team means so much to that community.
That guy gets to cover this amazing game.
Well, no. So I'll be out there, but we'll have someone else shooting that. I'm going to come back closer to East Alabama, but we will have Friday night. We're going to
we'll have you covered for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, we decided to give Kevin the big one this week.
Kevin's got the big one this week.
You deserved it.
Yes.
Yes, he absolutely deserved it. So we'll have you out over in East Alabama, but no doubt that is a big game, and that's why it's our tailgate game of the week. We'll get to that in a little bit, but first, as always, you know what time it is. It's time for our teams hitting the road, and we're starting to talk playoff scenarios now. Callaway is hitting the road to Lamar County. They will play the Trojans. Callaway currently holds the top spot in Region 5 2A after their win over Bremen last week, with really only one obstacle separating them for the region title. Yes, they still have Lamar County, Spencer, and Jordan on the schedule, but Heard County is going to be that big one in late October to determine if Callaway can pull off the region title in 5-2A this year. Going back to Region 1-4A, we're talking about the Shaw Raiders. They are hitting the road to Albany to face off with Westover. As we said earlier, Shaw currently holds the final playoff spot in Region 1-4A. Westover is a half game behind them, so that will be a big game and a true test for Shaw to go on the road to see if they can pull off a win in a place where they haven't been able to do it recently. Over in Alabama, Opelika and Ben Russell will face off in Region 3-6A play. Both teams are tied for the third spot in the region. If Opelika wins their next 3 games, they will guarantee themselves at least a 3 seed in that region, likely the 2 and potentially the 1. It all depends on how other games play out, but they will be no worse than 3.
Well, I mean, this was the whole point of Opelika playing that such a tough region schedule, out of region schedule at the beginning of the season. This is exactly where you hope it pays off. You don't run into Central, you don't run into Auburn anymore. So good luck the rest of the way.
It was pretty much a playoff schedule those first 5 games.
Exactly.
And going back to Shaw real quick, it was just interesting that Hardaway had won on a game-winning field goal the week before against America Sumter, and then coming into that game, they jumped out on top, and a big part of that was special teams. They had a punt return taken to the 1-yard line, they scored. A muff punt by Hardaway, they scored. They took advantage of mistakes mistakes, and that is what made the difference, because then at the end, they put themselves in a position to get a field goal, special teams, and they nailed it with 4 seconds left.
Wow.
30-28. If you don't have special teams step up in that game, we're not talking about the Charlotte Raiders as that borderline playoff team right now.
Exactly.
But there's a reason that they won the game, and there's a reason they're our athletes of the week. So I just wanted to mention that real quick about the Raiders.
You know I'm not going to have a problem with that at all.
As the graduate, yeah.
Stand up, Sean.
Stand up, Raider Nation. And finally, back over to Alabama. Eufaula is on the road Saturday in Park Crossing over in Montgomery. Eufaula currently holds the number 4 spot in Region 2-6A. Park Crossing is currently the number 3 team in Region 2-6A. So that will be a huge game for Ed Ridley's bunch down in Montgomery. The Tigers still control their destiny for a home playoff game, and that's something they have been notorious for getting done. Tiger Stadium is a very tough place to play. So, as always, our Friday night tailgate game of the week is the Brookstone Cougars versus the Marion County Eagles down in Buena Vista. That guy will be here at 5 and 6 live in Buena Vista. And of course, scores, highlights, and more on the Prep Zone presented by WOW at 11:15, 10:15 Central on News 3. And guys, I'm going to let you wrap this up because my voice is just going.
Well, he's going to go eat some chili first.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
We're going to finish now.
I am not.
You take that hat and they'll give you for free at Skyline.
I'm not going to Skyline. It's a good look, right? It's a good look. I haven't been to Cincinnati in about 15 years.
It was poetic that it was A.J. Green, the guy that lives in Atlanta, went to Georgia, that made the catch. Oh, man.
So that's why you guys love him so much in Athens. Now we get it.
Yes. Can you say who that?
I am not saying. Rise up. Rise up. That's how I can say that.
Well,
in brotherhood,
the answer to the question was We Day. So that's it.
You know I was so.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. These two aren't going to stop talking about it. A man who pays his debts. For Justin Hallbrook, for Jack Patterson.
Follow us on social media.
All that good stuff. You know where we're at WRB on Facebook, on Twitter. Thanks for joining us. And go out and enjoy the games, guys. We'll see you on the Prep Zone.